Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm your host, Kimbo, podcast where we uncover the stories behind the creativity. Get ready to be inspired. So sit back and grab a slice of life.
A Slice of Life podcast with Kimbo. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? We are back with another episode, Kimball's Slice of Life. We are here with Adaire. Miss Adaire is a host, interviewer, actually, so we're switching things up today. I'm the one asking her the questions. How do you feel right now that you're not the one asking the questions?
You know what? I didn't even think about that before I got here. I've done some interviews before, or been interviewed, so it's not completely. It's just been a long time.
Mm-hmm. So you're like, you do both. You're in the middle.
I'm comfy. It's comfy. I'm comfortable.
Adaire is also a model, and you're also like, what do you call the brain science?
Oh, I'm a brain and science educator. So brain science, brain health, behavioral education, anything along those lines. So behavioral science educator.
So can you like read people? Does that come easy to you, or is that like totally something different?
I don't want to say I can read people because people have everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand a lot why people do the things they do. I'll just say that. Yeah.
That's good.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
So
because I don't get people. So I was like, what?
Yeah. No, they still upset me, but I just understand now.
Oh, good. I need that mindset. So how did you get started in like hosting?
It is something that I fell into, to be honest. I started. This has been just a long journey with me, and as a creative, you're kind of like, you feel like you have to just find something you're good at and just do that and be a master at it, but you kind of limit yourself when you do that because creatives don't really work that way. We have many different gifts and we see many different things. So along the way, when you start, I started off as a model back in 2009. I'm kind of old. And throughout the years, you meet people and you network and you find new talents that you didn't know you had, or maybe new ideas or likings. You take a liking to something that you didn't know you had before. I never, ever liked the way I looked talking on camera. So I never thought I would ever be doing anything that actually required me to do that. I fell into it because when I was behind the scenes on set, the kinds of conversations that I was having and my ability to get people to talk to me and tell me things that they never shared before, I was like, man, maybe this is something that I'm good at, And I decided to just go for it because it happened to me too much where I was, backstage or just sitting, getting ready for a shoot. And, somebody's talking and they're telling you stuff. And then sometimes they cry or things get really emotional. And I'm like, we just had a moment. Like, what would it be like if I could record those moments, and share them with the rest of the world? So I got over my dislike of not seeing me talk. And I just started to interview people, and it continues to grow from there.
Are you someone who asks like a lot of questions? Like for me, I ask a lot of questions. So like you said, how you fell into that, like I kind of like fell into this because like a lot of people told me like all you do is ask questions, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
You're inquisitive.
But I'm not asking questions. Like maybe I'm nosy, but like I want to know more. Like I'm intrigued. So like, do you find yourself asking?
No, I don't really ask questions. Oh well, that's not true. On a day-to-day basis, like if we're just around each other, I'll ask you questions, but it's not to pry. It's just because maybe I'm curious about something. Right. But once I ask a couple questions when I'm interviewing somebody, I try not to only ask questions. I try to actually lead the conversation. And then if there's something they bring up that it kind of opens a new door in the conversation, I just allow them room to talk. So if there's any question, I'll ask it. I'll be like, explain that to me. Or what do you mean by that? Or, you seem passionate about that. Can you tell me why? Things just kind of come up. So I do write stuff down, and I'm prepared. But sometimes it doesn't go that way.
Right.
You know, it's sometimes the conversation will go somewhere else. And when you're, what I've learned is allowing that to happen is usually like the best interviews that I've done or that I've had for myself.
So you said you don't like, so you got over the fear of like not seeing yourself. What about just your voice? Because for me, like I still like cringe at my voice without audio. I mean, without video.
Yeah, same thing. I didn't like my voice either. But it wasn't about me. You know, when you interview people, it's not about you at all.
Right.
It's about them. So I don't know. And maybe it's because I modeled for so long. And, you know, and the type of modeling I was doing where I was like in the fashion world and the beauty world. And when you do beauty work, it's like the makeup and hair, and they do like close-ups on your eyes. Like everything is so up close and personal, and you just get so used to being like critiqued and pulled apart that you build up just thick skin and you just get over it. Right. There's a lot of pictures I have out there I just don't like. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. It makes me look awful. Oh, my hair look crazy. Oh, one of the eyes looks smaller than the other. You know, these are things that we notice, but I started to just trust the people on the other side of the camera. So if the producer says it was good, I was like, all right, whatever. I trust you to do your job. You trusted me to do mine. Same thing with doing interviews. If people like what they're seeing and they like what they're hearing and they're telling you that, trust them. Right. So it's not really, I just kind of put myself on a back burner and I'm like, okay, I may feel this way, but if I'm getting good feedback, that's what I'm going to listen to first. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
So what is it that you talk about in these interviews? Is it, because I saw, is it like your MMA?
I've done so many different interviews. So right now, the field, the area that I'm in is in mixed martial arts in that sport. So there's a podcast I do with Jamal Hill, and it's called War Council, and it's an analyst show. And we have people on there. It's not basically an interview style. It's kind of like a round table, and we talk about, you know, the fights. But every now and then, you know, I'll pop in a question just out of curiosity or I wanted to know something. So I have been interviewing a lot of fighters lately, but the ones that I really love to do are my one-on-one sit downs. I haven't done one of those in a minute, but I'm gonna once I start my own show, which will be soon, I'm gonna start doing that again, where it's one-on-one. And the purpose of those, at least for me, is giving other people the ability to say things maybe they haven't been able to say before. And it's not, I wouldn't say I really have a topic, right? I just like to give people a voice, and I like to give them a platform to be seen. And that was extremely fulfilling for me. I didn't know that until I did it. And that's also how I found my voice. I found my voice giving other people their voice, which is so crazy, right? And I was like, I really love this. I like giving other people the opportunity to, with no distractions, right? To just talk without second guessing themselves. Right, you know, it's a gift when you give people the ability to be seen and heard. It is, because we all want it. Right. We all want that. We all want to be understood. We all want to have a voice of some sort. Maybe we don't want to be on the front line, but we just don't. We're all human. We all have that need to connect, and sometimes we do that best through sharing our stories. You know?
Yeah. Would you feel like you're like more of a great listener? Because this has like changed you to become like a listener.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love listening. I enjoy listening more than talking.
Same. Same.
Yeah. I'm a great listener. I've been told I was a great listener my whole life. I've been told I'm a good listener. So, yeah, I use it now.
Right.
It's my advantage.
Same. When it comes to hosting, what do you enjoy most about it? Like, what is your favorite?
I think it's the moments that I have with the people on set with me. And it's really cool because sometimes if anybody's watching this and you've never sat down and done an interview and you want to, I really encourage you to do it because, you know how sometimes people get on camera. I don't know how you were the first time you did it.
Oh my God.
You freeze, right? Or you're thinking so much
Yeah.
and you don't, usually it sucks the first time, right? I like to make that experience really good for people, right? It doesn't always work. Sometimes people are in their heads, but I really, really love the moments that we have where, and it might take 20, 30 minutes where we forget that there's a camera there.
Right.
Like we're so deep in conversation, we forget there's a camera. And then they're just talking, they're just flowing, they're just in that flow state. And when they're done answering or they're ready to move on, it's kind of like you can see them come back down and they're like, whoa, we just had a moment, or I just said that out loud and I felt some type of freedom from doing it. So it's probably those moments that I enjoy the most.
So how do you like engage with, are they, because these shows aren't live, are they?
Some of them are.
Some of them. So how do you engage with like the audience?
What do you mean by that?
Like
how do I market to the audience, or like how does the audience take to me? I may be overthinking this question.
Well, because you said some of them are live. So are they like, are people watching y'all like live?
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Or
yeah. So sometimes if we do lives, especially since I'm the moderator on the show, I read through the comments, and the way that we have it, because we have so many people that will pop up, we have them do like a minimum of $5 if they want us to read their question. We will not read it if it's inappropriate or it's something that's negative. We just completely ignore it. But sometimes, and you might see it if you go and watch an episode, which they're pretty long because we usually go over the whole fight card. But the sometimes those comments are so funny. Like while he's talking, I'm over here laughing on camera because I'm just reading what all the people are saying. And sometimes people they get in fights in the comment section or they start talking smack to each other. Yeah, so or telling your mama jokes. Like it's so corny sometimes. And I'm just over there giggling and I'm like, I'm so sorry, y'all. This comment section is hilarious. So usually when I do, even if I don't read it, they know that I'm reading it. So then more people comment. And it's just fun. It's almost like we're just chilling. We're all just kind of chilling, even though they're not there with us. So when I have those, that's kind of what I like to do. Even though I don't read the comments out loud, I still acknowledge that I'm reading the comments. You're reading it. Yeah, I see what y'all are saying. And you guys are cracking me up and you're making me really enjoy this podcast right now. So I always give that back to, the people that are engaged.
So some of them are pre-recorded and then some of them
are pre-recorded. I enjoy the live ones better.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do both. Just depends on the schedule and how soon we can get it. Because for lives we have to schedule them and then announce them, so people can join. But sometimes people pop up. Sometimes there's somebody in town and we're like, hey, you gotta hop on the podcast while you're here, and we might record those and release those. But yeah, the lives that's where it's at.
Oh, just so y'all know, Adaire also lives in Vegas, so this is all happening in Vegas.
This is happening in Vegas. Yeah.
So you just go from back and forth?
I go back and forth. Yeah, I do. I love Texas. I used to take Texas for granted when I was younger. And I didn't know how much Texas had to offer. I just thought of Texas like the TV presented Texas to the rest of the world, right? Which is like cowboys
and cows.
and horses and cowboy hats and just, Southern everything. And I was like, and then I started to travel and I was like, okay, Texas is way, 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 way better than I was giving it credit for. And then not even to mention just real estate wise, income wise, opportunity wise, there's so many different cities in Texas. If you don't like this one, you can just drive 3 hours another way and go get a completely different vibe, or 5 hours and you'll be by the beach. You know, it's just it's amazing how many options you have. So I love coming back here, and the food is bomb. It's bomb.
You're a foodie.
Yes. Yes, I love food.
Have you faced any challenges when it comes to hosting?
I wouldn't say personally. I've had people, say negative things.
Like about the show, or?
No. I've had people say negative things about like me, and not a lot, but a few. I've had a few people say negative things about me, but it was never coming from people who were doing better than I was, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It came from people who couldn't understand how can she do this and this and this and hop around, and it's like they couldn't comprehend how it was making things happen and getting different opportunities. But I don't know. I drown that stuff out because it's not coming from anything or anyone who would benefit me or even benefit anybody else who they're around. So, I've heard things, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you can come here and show me how it's done, then maybe I'll listen to you. Right. But if you can't even do that, or you can't get yourself out of a position, because when you go after things in life, like, you have to really change, like, you can't just sit on the couch and talk about ideas, which we all love to do.
Right.
But you have to go after it. And sometimes when you go after things, it's like, okay, I have to change this thing about me, whether it's my belief system or my habits. And I do a lot of self-work, right? So if there's a goal that I have, I'm like, all right, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. This is what I see myself doing. Back in 2020, I said I wanted to start a company. I'm a nerd. I'm a brain and behavioral science nerd. That's where my education lies. And I had all of these years of entertainment under my belt, right? And understanding the fashion world and media and film, whatever. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do it. How am I going to do it? How is a model going to talk about brain science and people listen to her? Right.
Right.
And I didn't believe in myself because I didn't have the credentials to be able to call myself a doctor. Right. So I was like, okay, well, how am I going to sell this to the world? And I asked for advice over and over and over. I probably spent a year asking people for advice back in 2019. We don't have to stop for that. That's pretty loud. Okay.
Yeah. That's the ring I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I probably spent a year asking for advice, trying to get the other person to give me some type of motivation to get started, right? And they didn't have it. They didn't have it for me because the idea wasn't given to them, it was given to me. Right? So when you have this idea, you're like, all right, I gotta bring it to life. And finally, I just was like, you know what? I have to start believing in myself.
Right.
Just do it. Like, literally just do it. Build it so nicely and so thoroughly where people start to believe you. And I actually didn't get a lot of support in my own city, which made me doubt my idea. Girl, once I did it, once I launched it, I globally scaled the company within 10 months. So it went from the US to Australia and the UK. And the company was featured in Forbes 6 months after I launched it. And then guess what happened? When that Forbes article came out, guess who was reposting it? Everybody in my city. Yeah, everybody that doubted me, everybody that was like, oh, I don't know how you're gonna make that happen. And then it was like just calls nonstop. Like, people were, oh, how do you do this? And the same people that didn't believe in me are now asking me for advice on how to do something. So that's why I stopped when somebody says something negative, I'm like, nah, I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. I'm trying to change my life. I'm trying to better my life. I'm trying to become this vision of a woman that I see. And I got all these barriers I got to go through in order to do that. And nobody's going to know that journey but you. So I don't know if that, I just like went off on a tangent.
Okay.
I don't know if that answered anything for you, but that's just kind of my belief system on doing things, you know.
Do you still like get, when it comes to the interviews, do you still get nervous? Or is it something that just comes natural now?
If I'm not prepared, I might get nervous. It depends on who it is. So if it's somebody that, I'm trying to think of an example. Well, I mean, yeah, because my boyfriend now, he was somebody I interviewed before we dated. I was very nervous to interview him because I had a crush on him and I didn't want him to find out. Yeah, really. I didn't want him to find out.
So funny.
And I found out, I think like 2 days before that we were going to interview him. And I was like, no, I'm not ready. I was nervous about that. But it, you know, once the cameras came on and we started talking, it was fine. I don't know. I think initially, like when you like know the guest you're going to have, you might get a little, because you don't know their personality. You never talked to them before. It's the first time we're ever going to talk is when we're being recorded, right? That is kind of weird if you think about that. But usually it goes away within like the first 5 minutes. So I would say I do get nervous. I just allow, you know, human connectivity to take over the worry in my mind.
Right. In the beginning, when I first started, everybody that I interviewed, like I knew them on a personal level. And so it was easier for me to like connect. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to know everybody on a personal level. Like I have to like give other people a chance that I don't know, that I've never met, you know, because everybody I knew already, like, you know, so that kind of.
And then the new people, you're like,
oh. You're like, oh, you're kind of cool.
Yeah, it could be hit or miss. You know, I had two. I've had 2 interviews where I was like, I felt like I had to pull teeth.
Oh,
those are hard. That was hard because not everybody's like charismatic and you know wants to share. And sometimes they just do interviews because of their status and their manager, you know, booked them or their agent booked them for it.
So
they have to show up. So they come and they don't want to be there.
That's so funny because you can like read it on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. You can definitely tell.
Can you share any funny moments or any memorable moments?
Oh my gosh. I have so many funny moments. Even though the basis of any show that I do has never been comedy, we always laugh. Always. There's always laughter in there somewhere.
Would it be more on the strict side or is it just like fully business, do you think?
You said would it be more on the strict side?
Yeah, like what y'all talk about? Because y'all are talking about, what is it y'all are going over the fight or what happened?
Yeah, it's like analysts. You know, it's like the boring side of sports. You know, the only people who maybe are hardcore fans or in the sport or people who like, you know, bet and put money on like do this for a living, they might, you know, they enjoy it. Like fans don't really, unless they're like super fans. Fans don't really care about stuff like that. They just like to see like the action, right?
Right.
The night of, or the build up and the marketing and the crap talking back and forth. And we're talking about like skill level and, you know, different styles and, you know, different possibilities of the way fights could go. And we talk about the boring stuff. But so I don't know. I guess that specific show, yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's serious because we joke around a lot, but the content, the base of the content is not. It's not like funny, you know. There's nothing that's like fun and exciting about being analytical.
Yeah,
but we add in the humor. So
how like close is it to? Because I've seen the interviews after like post interview after like basketball games But those are like people in the audience asking the questions. Like, how close is that? Something way different? Am I thinking like off the grid here?
I think you're thinking about like sideline interviews. Is that what you're thinking about? Like when they like after like the players play a game and then
Yeah,
the
and
ladies
they're all
there.
like sitting on a table and everyone's in.
Oh yeah, so that's a press conference. That's like
Okay,
a post.
see, I
That's
don't
like
know
a
these
post,
words.
yeah, that's like a post press conference.
So that's something that's different than what y'all do.
That is different. Yeah, if I wanted to, and I wanted to get my credentials to do media, I could do that. I could. All you got to do is sign up, you get approved, and then you show up. You have a little spot at the table, and you have your questions written down, and then you just wait your turn and ask the questions. But those are usually for reporters and journalists.
Oh, okay.
So they ask these questions, right? And they take down the answers, and then they'll write articles about it afterwards. Or they're taking pictures while they're there, and then the picture that they have, maybe it goes viral, and now this is the journalist that took this picture of LeBron James, and that's kind of how they build their credibility. So it's an angle. I did journalist work for a little bit when I first started doing the MMA scene. Literally the first year I got hired to be a journalist covering the Dana White Contender Series. So I was writing stories about fighters that were breaking into the UFC. That was cool, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
I can't do it. You can even ask the lady that I was under, Amy, thank you for being so patient with me, because I just didn't. I just don't think it was my calling. I'll just say that. There's probably multiple times she was like, "Oh my God, this girl was like hitting herself in the head or something." But she's awesome. She still supports me now in the angle that I took. But yeah, it's very fast paced. That's a little different. It's not.
Okay. I just see snippets of it on Instagram, and I don't know. Sometimes those are so like serious, and the guys are so like.
It is serious.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have. There's some personalities. They'll ask questions, and they do it to kind of stir up stuff. But it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's. I would not want to do it.
Yeah.
I respect people that do, but it's not my thing. So.
Yeah, because I was like, is that? I wasn't really sure. Is that the same thing? But yeah, I didn't.
Nah.
There's so much different kind of like media. I don't even know.
I know.
All I know is this podcast I do, and that's it. So, there's so much out there. I'm just like, what? What's that? It's so funny. They got mics. We got mics.
They got microphones.
That's all I know.
It must be similar.
Where do you want to take, like, in the years ahead? Where do you want to take a hosting? Do you eventually want to gravitate away from the MMA, or you want to?
I don't know. I fell into MMA because I trained MMA for 10 years before I started to, do the media part of it. It just kind of made sense because I was like, well, I understand the sport. I'm hands-on with the sport. I have trained with people who are professionals and do this for a living. I'm also very analytical, so my mind I just kind of pick things apart, and I'm able to explain that to other people. And then I've just been on camera since I was like 19 years old. So it's like, I'm not shy. So I just put it together, and, here I am doing this. I do think, it'd be cool to see where the show goes now that I'm doing. We get great feedback from people, like even people who are on ESPN and they have their own shows. They watch the show and they're like, you guys this definitely is ESPN worthy. I think it'd be cool, just to knock it off the list and say, hey, yeah, I did it. And, but eventually I want my own show where it's just me and another person. And it doesn't have to be sports related. It doesn't even have to be MMA related. And I just want to talk to people. I don't care who it is. Like, it could be kids.
People?
Yeah, different people. It could be kids and, people that have people on the street. Like, anybody, people that own businesses, moms, people that adopt kids, you know, like literally like that's all they do. People that run foster homes, police officer, anybody, just people,
okay.
you know. So I want to do that one day, but I feel like I have time for that. So I'm not
in a rush.
I'm not rushing anything. I've really enjoyed the space that I've been in. I gained so much gratitude from sitting and interviewing people and hosting shows and moderating shows that I've kind of just like chilled out, you know. And it's funny because people are like, "Are you still doing stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just not like on the treadmill running after it right now. You know, I'm just coasting, and it's nice." But yeah, I definitely. I also help co-produce a show, so you know, me on the production side is I have other people I help with their podcast too. So I like being in the background too. Actually, I actually really love being in the background. Really? I really do. I'm not a super. Which is so crazy because all the things I've done as a profession have usually required me to not be in the background. But yeah, if I could make money just being hidden, I'll totally do that. But I still really, really enjoy talking with people and people talking with me. So maybe you'll see me have my own show. Well, I won't say maybe. You will. You will see me have my own show within the next couple of years.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start like their own podcast or show?
Make sure that you are talking about something that people want to listen to. There's a lot of people that, I'm sure you've seen this, because everyone has access to a microphone and a camera or a phone, and everybody's recording themselves talking. We have a lot of people that are talking on the microphone that should not be talking. And I'm serious. And it's changing our culture, right? Because when you're on the microphone, you don't have anybody there to fact check you. You don't have anybody to contend with or say, okay, maybe you're wrong. You're just fluently speaking and very convincingly speaking. And you're out there changing other people's minds and influencing other people. So it's dangerous on one side, you know, because you do have these podcasts that might even blow up where they're just saying outrageous shit. And people are like, oh, I knew it. And then they're sending it. And it really does change our culture. So my first thing is make sure that you are talking about something that people actually want to listen to. Like, just because you have good ideas doesn't mean people want to listen to you talk. And it's true. It's something, it's really a question you have to ask yourself. And then why do you want to do it? Do you want to do it because you just want to be front and center? Right? Or do you actually have something to share with the world?
Right.
You know, do you have content to give the world? Do you have advice to give the world? Or is this your way of healing from something? Are you just doing it to find your voice? You know, it's okay to ask those questions. So I just tell people to know why you're doing it, and then make sure you have something to offer.
Right. Because once it's on the internet, it stays on the internet.
It stays.
Yes,
oh my God. Yes, it stays. It may not age well either.
What's your favorite pizza?
Oh, you know what? That's a hard question.
I ask everybody that at the end of the episode.
My favorite pizza.
Do you have a favorite pizza place?
No.
No.
No, because I'm like a foodie and I just like good food. I don't know. I mean, the margarita pizza is good if it's done right, because I like, so many places have it and I've tried it and it wasn't good. So I've actually had more bad experiences
with pizza
with the margarita.
Oh, margarita. Yeah, I can
pizza
see that.
than not. But I've had like a couple good ones where I was like, yeah, this is it. Yeah, I would just say probably margarita pizza. Yeah. You know what's crazy? My best friend doesn't like pizza.
Really?
Isn't that weird? And she's a chef.
I've never met anyone that doesn't like pizza.
Yeah, it's her. It's her. She doesn't like pizza. She is a chef. I would say she's a foodie. She's very, and she don't order pizza. She won't eat it. And she's been my friend for years. And I actually forgot about it. And then she reminded me again last year because I was like, hey, what kind of pizza you want? She's like, I don't like pizza. I was like, oh, that's right. You're one of those people.
That's funny. All right, Adaire, thank you for coming on, sharing us your story and what everything. Guys, stay tuned for her talk show or whatever show. What is it? Not a talk show. I said talk show, but that's like Jimmy Fallon or something.
Oh, yeah. Like a late night show. Hey,
stay tuned for her show, whatever it may be. We appreciate you. Thank you. Y'all go check out Adaire. She does all these different things, and you'll definitely learn something from her.
Thank you.
If you didn't already, you should.
Thank you.
She dropped a lot of gems on this episode, so y'all better like write it down, take notes, okay? Thanks, guys. YouTube fam, don't forget to subscribe, like. You can find Kimbo's Slice of Life on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We will see you guys in 2 weeks.